Hi, Shannon Waller here, and welcome to Inside Strategic Coach with special guest, Colleen Bowler. Colleen, I am so thrilled to have you on the podcast because you are Inside Strategic Coach. You've been a strategic coach, associate coach for over 20 years, which is epic in and of itself. You've had a phenomenal entrepreneurial career, and I can't wait for people to get to know you better, to learn about how you started, about what the difference coach has made to you. You have a phenomenal, I don't want to call it a side project, but a passion project, a heart project called Generous Kids that I think would be great to share. And you're also someone that in your industry is a leader in terms of what's coming. So we have lots to talk about today. So thank you so much for being here. I'm so excited.
I'm so excited. Can't wait to have a conversation with Shannon Waller.
Thank you. Awesome. So let's get started because you've been an entrepreneur from a very, very early age. So can you talk about how you get started? I always find that kind of educational as to what people are up to now and in the future.
Yeah. So first off, starting as an entrepreneur, I think you got to go back to childhood. We were raised in that entrepreneurial mindset. My mother would make scarves and we would sell them, to neighbors or friends or things like that. I babysat from when I was 14, still wondering why those people let me take care of their little baby children at age 14. But really, that mindset was there from the beginning, that if you wanted something, you had to earn it. And I think that is something that has stuck with me for a really long time. And with most entrepreneurs, things weren't given to me. And I use that like with my son as well. When he said he wanted a car, I'm like, great, figure out a way to make the money. I didn't tell him I was going to match him dollar for dollar, and he made the money and bought the car. And I didn't even get him to match. So I think how we instill that in our kids and in our DNA from entrepreneurial. My grandmother was an entrepreneur. She had the South's largest dinnerware store. That was at a time that women did not work outside the home. And once again, it was necessity that caused that to happen. So I've been an entrepreneur for a really long time in regards to quote unquote work. That started when I had a sick 3-year-old going through a divorce, needed a job that was really flexible. And somebody said, hey, you're good at this thing called math. Why don't you try financial planning? And that's, I did not wake up ever. I don't know who wakes up wanting to be a financial advisor. Maybe, I don't know. But it was out of necessity.
I find it so interesting that sometimes like one kind of offhand comment or just one little thing can actually be what sets the course and sets the direction. But you picked up on that because, as you said, it was out of necessity. And you've been I was going to say ridiculously successful, but you've been incredibly successful at that. So tell us more about that.
So I think, it was a need. I needed it. I was a single mom. I had sole custody of my son since he was 3. And I wanted that flexibility to be able to go read at school during the middle of the day. So, I would work before Addison woke up in the morning and I would work afterwards. We all know that multitasking situation that we do. And I got really good. I can't say the first year I made $14,000. That qualified me for earned income credit. Thank God for family and friends. I can't say that was the best year. But what I realized my strength was, which I think many entrepreneurs have, is asking questions. Dan talks about that a lot. And getting really good at asking questions about others' future. I realize it is such a vast industry. And yes, I have my CFP. And yes, I've sat in an incredible amount of education and workshops, and I've even taught them and all those things. But it is that ability to collaborate with others, to be able to say, Shannon, that's a fabulous question. I don't know the answer, but I'm going to find it. I'll find it. People don't need you to know the answer. They need you to be willing to find it. And I think for me, that's one of the most powerful things I say for new advisors or entrepreneurs, to be able to say, oh, I don't know. Don't make it up. Just figure it out, right? You can make it real by collaborating with people.
You just used one of my very favorite words, which is what popped to mind. There's something very real about being an entrepreneur. And I'm thinking about someone who is in a well, I'm going to say bureaucracy because some corporations are more entrepreneurial than others.
There they are. Yeah.
So think about a bureaucracy where everything is based on status. Things are based on how you look or are perceived. And it's not cool, or people don't think it's cool to say, I don't know. But the realness, the genuine, it's like the clarity, as you said, you're not making it up. You're like, I don't know, and I'm going to find out. Like that's a powerful assertion that gives people a ton of confidence rather than just trying to BS them.
Yes, yes. And I would say that led me to having such success, that and getting my butt in my chair in strategic coach. So when I sold the financial planning firm, and remember, when I started, there were 15% of the industry were women. Unfortunately, now it's only 17%. So, I've had people tell me I should go home and take care of my kid.
Seriously?
Yes. I'm like, I am taking care of my kid. This is how I do it, right? So I had $500 million of assets under management. We did planning fees. We sold life insurance, long-term care, disability insurance, all the different things that make up for a really good financial planning firm. And probably one of my successes, I would say, is selling it, because so many hold onto their companies for a really long time, past the prime. So I sold it, and with that wisdom, knowledge, and expertise that I gained from all those years of experience, but also sitting my butt in my chair in strategic coach and also being a coach, I started a new company, C&J Innovations, where I worked with another coach client, Jeannie Hurlbert, who has a PhD, wicked smart, and created these 5-minute quick assessments that financial advisors could use with prospects or clients to really talk about mindsets, to really build relationship. And yes, it definitely grows revenue, but it is that connecting, it is that trust that they're able to quickly establish by basically using all these things we know in coach and put it into a quick online assessment that a prospect or client could take.
And I've had the pleasure of doing that assessment and seeing it
Yes.
evolve. So tell everyone the name, and if they're intrigued, if they want to learn more about it, because I think you have, like Dan and like Strategic Coach, Dan and I had another podcast yesterday on context versus content.
Oh,
and it's interesting. A lot of people, I know, right? A lot of people are focused on here's the content, right? Here's what you need to know. I'm going to do this for you. You're going to do that. But people are missing the context of why they need to do it, because context is why. And Dan is Clifton Strengths, have it in is number 4 on his list. And so few people remember that we don't take action. We're not confident unless we know why we're doing it. I had a friend, this is another reason why this topic was so pertinent for me, who's been trying to coach someone to stop doing things he's terrible at. It was actually his son said, oh, why don't you show him the unique ability video, which I'd forgotten. It's the draw shot video of unique ability. It's 3 minutes and 42 seconds. I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot about that one. And they showed it, and the guy was like, oh, that's what you've been trying to tell me.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So this whole thing about context, and with the wealth profile, it's like you said, a context, and all of a sudden that makes the content, the actions people need to take make so much more sense. So tell us more about it.
Yeah. So we all know that, as you just said, people take action for their future, not because someone else wants them to do it. So if we can get them focused on their future, and our quick 5-minute assessments say, where are you now on these 8 different mindsets, and where do you want to be in your future? So it helps the individual taking it like you did and said, Bruce and I need this, this, and this. We want to take action on these things. But it also tells the advisor, Shannon and Bruce really don't care about, whatever it is. Where they're really focused on is this. Because if you score yourself 10 to 12 in something that you want to have happen, that you want to go there, that is something that the advisor should pay attention to and help you do it. Mm-hmm. And the mindsets, some of them are financial, but like one of them is caring. Does someone know where your passwords are? right? Important things. We all talk about estate documents, we talk about wills and trusts, but what about the passwords to your computer? What about the password to your Amazon account or your Netflix account or something like that? So, really, really important. And then there's action items that come out. So, one of the things is when we talk about somebody or we have someone go through a quick assessment, just like coach does, we want them to be able to take action immediately in their future if they want to. And that's what it does and allows any advisor to use with their prospects and clients.
That is such a gift. I love that you went from serving individual clients to serving financial advisors.
Yeah, who then serve their clients. Yes.
Exactly. So you're kind of one to many.
One to many.
That's one way to do that. And you've been doing this company for a few years now.
Yeah, 3 years. Mm-hmm.
Nice. So are you having fun with it?
Yeah, having fun with it and really seeing, we talk about entrepreneurs having the waterfall, the trickle down effect, and financial advisors do the same thing. It's that trickle down effect to all of their clients and their families and colleagues and business owners that they work with. It's really very cool.
Great. And the other thing that this tool does, and I think this is true in every industry, but particularly in financial advising, is going to be so easy because we all have our own frameworks. We all have our own mindsets, and it can be very difficult to bridge that into a potential client's way of thinking. But this is a way to get aligned. And for me, I'm thinking, oh, I've done this so many times. People come and talk to me and they share what their issues are. And I'm like, oh, great. And I'm giving a million things. But the truth is, only one of those was a priority.
Yeah.
I just got too caught up in what I get excited about. And I forget to go, what about this is actually a challenge for you? And I'm like, oh, that was a lot simpler than I thought. Right. And so having a way with the mindset tools has you get out of your own framework and into someone else's and their future, as you very eloquently said. This is where you can create value for them in their future.
Right.
Their past is gone, present's now. The only place we can create value for people is next week, next year, 3 years, 10 years, what have you.
Yeah, it is one of my favorite things that I've integrated from Coach is the only place you can create value is in someone else's future. And if you don't know what that future is, what they want to do, you may think you know because you may be the expert.
Yes.
But it's what their future is and how do you get them to share that? And that's what the assessments do. It helps them share where do they see their future. One of the mindsets is about partnership. And they rate themselves, where are they now in partnership, either with their current advisor or you? And it's a 1 to 12. And where do they want to be in their future? Well, guess what? Some people don't really want to be in partnership with an advisor. And wouldn't that be great if you knew it right off the bat to say, you know what? This really isn't a right fit because you scored 6, on a scale of 1 to 12. You really don't want to be in partnership. And that's okay. There's a lot of 1-800, I always say 1-800 no help, but that's not really cool. There's a lot of information you can get. And when you're ready, if you're ready to be in partnership, we'll be here for you. But otherwise, we're really excited. And that's a 15-minute conversation. So for many of us as entrepreneurs, the right fit client is so important, but so is stepping left of the non-right fit client and finding that out as soon as you possibly can if it's not a right fit.
You eliminate so much complexity.
Yes.
Yeah, when you say yes to the right fit and no to the wrong fit, graciously, of course, you just declutter your life exponentially. Very good point.
It is that abundance mindset that you continue to attract right fit. I think, at least for me, starting my entrepreneurial career, we used to say anybody that fogged a mirror was because and you had to get all that practice and whatever. But the level that people play in the strategic coach, the entrepreneurs at that level, average income of an entrepreneur in the US and Canada, I believe is $56,000 a year.
Oh.
So obviously, the entrepreneurs in Coach and those that were around, the like-minded people, they play at a very high level. And that high level, we need a way to let go of non-right fit clients.
So true. So just to dive into your experience at Coach, because Coach has been part of your career for a long time. And
Yes.
then you also became a coach, which is a whole other level.
Yes.
So I'd love to know, both from the client experience, what difference has Coach made to your business? Obviously, I know it also set up the context for you to do this new business, which is very exciting
Yeah.
and very generous. I love it. But what difference has Coach made in your thinking, in your actions as you were growing your business before you sold it?
So I had heard about Coach several years before I qualified income wise. I referred 10 people into Coach before I was able to qualify for Coach. And that was because I saw people who were in strategic coach who had a really good life.
Mm.
And I admired that. And every time I was asking, it would be like, well, I'm in strategic coach. And I'm like, I got to get there. I got to get there. So as a financial advisor, entrepreneur, we all had our own businesses. That was key for me, sitting my butt in the chair. And what other thing was key was that those in the front of the room were entrepreneurs. My coach was an entrepreneur. You know, I get asked to speak a lot at entrepreneurial programs. Guess what? The professors haven't been entrepreneurs. They don't know that January depression when you start all over and you have payroll to meet and you have numbers and you have all that stuff. So that was really important to me. The other thing was being around like-minded people. I come back every quarter, and no matter if it's a good quarter or bad quarter, my only goal was to get my butt in the chair. And somewhere in that room, magic happened. The people around me, I heard something. Sometimes I don't even remember what I did in the workshop that day. And I'm still in my own workshop, just like all the coaches. We're in our own workshops every quarter, which, you know, as Shannon knows, it's really important for all of us because it helps keep the ego in check, right? But it also helps the creativity continue. So the time I've been in coach for my business, when I sold my firm, I was gone 50% of the time. You know, when I started in coach, I didn't know what a free day was. And by the end of the year, I could take one free day. And that sounds bad, but I was a single mom. And remember, free days are about having structure set up and people and resources and things like that. The second year, I was able to take a week off and not call into the office. So those things and getting to really understand free, focus, and buffer days, I call them chocolate, vanilla, and strawberry,
Mm-hmm.
right? Those things became really key. And that ability to go away and relax and enjoy my family. And I got married during this period of time. Our kids were in college when that happened, but that was really good. And I believe it's from having my butt in the chair every quarter.
That's going to be my new slogan.
In chair.
That's the thing. Even when it feels like a crappy quarter, you're like, oh my gosh, I haven't done anything or whatever. I love that you talked about the fact that all the strategic coach, associate coaches are clients. In fact, you're clients first, as far as coach is concerned. And that means you're in it. I mean, I'm a 10X coach and I'm in my workshop. It's like, I think to be a great coach, you have to be coached and be willing to be coached and anticipate and look forward to that. So there are no talking heads.
No.
And if I'm a client listening to the fact that the first year you could take one, or the first quarter, and the first year you could take a week, that's incredible. Like, you have had your own experience that matches what our clients have, which to my mind, there's just such authenticity and realness about that.
Well, the other thing is, if I'm not in my own workshop, I probably am not growing. In the financial services industry, you know, there are so many people that, I hate to say this, you know, are dying in their chair. They're not leaving. They're not creating a succession plan. They don't see a future bigger than their past. You know, to let go of this huge top planning firm and to sell it. And I was talking with several advisors this last week. They're like, but what do you do? I mean, I don't even think of anything else I can do. Well, first off, they haven't had free days, right? Because they haven't created hobbies and a life outside. But in coach, the statement, having a future bigger than your past, when you've done something really big, to let it go, you've got to have a vision that pulls you forward strong enough to let your past go. And I think so many in coach now, ones that are older and even younger ones, have let go of current firms or building new firms, and they've done it repeatedly. It used to be you would hold on to the firm for a really long time, but this growing, building, letting go, grow, build, let go. But it is about having that future that pulls you forward.
That is such a valuable and powerful point, because if not, you're going to have a death grip on the previous version of yourself and not be reaching for the next thing.
Well, we have that example with Coach, right? Because Dan started in Signature, and while he didn't let go of a company, he let go of a program, which even a lot of entrepreneurs won't do that aren't in Coach. He let go of Signature, then he went into 10X. He let go of 10X, and along the way, there was a lot of other iterations that we all know, but right now, these iterations, and now is in Free Zone, and then was able to have this CoachCon, a conference with all the different people who are in Coach and been in Coach. I mean, it was incredible, but that he and Babs really didn't even know what was going to happen, right?
No.
That is being able to let go, whether it's in your own company or let go of that company and build a new company, right? Incredible.
That's a really great point. Yeah, we were both just at CoachCon last week at the time of recording this, and it was such an incredible celebration of our community, but with a ton of growth-oriented conversations that we were all having and connections, which it was a 10X coach experience, which is always what our goal is. So I love that. So 2 questions that come to mind, I would just love to know your take on it. One is, what was one of the most challenging things or biggest challenges you had to overcome when you had your practice? What comes to mind? Because I think entrepreneurial successes are great to share. It's also fascinating to see what obstacles people overcome.
So when you talk about letting go, some of us have a lot of control things that we need.
No, really?
Does that sound familiar, Shannon?
Never heard of it before.
And one of the best ways for me, especially when I'm in the beginning, is to not learn something that I need expanded in the firm. So I had, top advisor firm in the US. I didn't know Excel. I mean, I still don't. And I don't know the software for our financial planning software. I don't know PowerPoint. You could give me $1 million. I couldn't do any of it. So for me, to be able to stay in my strengths, I had to wall off my weaknesses because I would try to make it work. I mean, I'm going to do that if something doesn't happen. So that made it that I relied on others, collaborate. I had to learn that strength by making myself let go. And it was funny, one of the other top advisors that I was talking with the other day, he too didn't know Excel and didn't know his software. And everybody around us was like, there's no way. There's no way. It was like, yep, he was in Coach as well.
Okay.
So my biggest weakness is trying to do something I shouldn't be doing, staying on my side, staying in my unique ability and trusting and using my unique ability team.
That's powerful. There's lots of different ways to describe it, but what do you see as your unique ability? Collaboration is definitely a part of it. Like for your clients, you put together this amazing network.
Yeah.
So if it's not the technical things, what is it, just for fun?
For me, it's empowering others to be who they truly are. So it really is the software that we've created is really my unique ability in asking the questions. Jeannie's unique ability is putting it into a system and making those questions be asked correctly and having all the back end stuff. I know nothing about the tech involved in this company at all. I just know about how to put together the questions about someone else's future and how can I with that, empower you to be who you truly are. And that is connecting, that's collaborating. That's why I have no worry about AI. I'm excited. We use it all the time because that helps, systematize the predictable so you can humanize the experience, the 4 seasons quote. We don't go in and have the bed made differently every day. So that AI is going to help do that. So we can spend more time in what we do best, which I believe most entrepreneurs, this is their strength, is connecting with others.
And you built a top firm doing exactly that.
Correct.
Right.
Yeah. And I think another big thing, and we talk about it in Coach, and one of my friends in Coach, David Engel, heard me on the phone and I said, I'll get this done. I'll make sure that happens. I get off the phone and he goes, what was that all about? And I was like, well, I was just answering a client. And he goes, don't ever use the word I again. It's we. Because if you use the word I, you can't take a vacation. You can't, it is where you blend and go away from the ego and you let it be okay that everybody else's wins. It is we will do this for you. We will get that done. We have an outstanding team. And I always told people when first meeting, Shan, it's been really great meeting you. One of the things you got to know if we're going to work with me is you're never going to be able to get a hold of me. They do just like you. They laugh. They're like, there's no way. And I'm like, no, we have an incredible team. And when I'm with you, I want to be with you. When I'm with another client, I want to be with another client. When I'm with my family, I want to be with my family. We will take care of you. That's what our team is for. But it's not me, it's we.
Ooh, it's not me, it's we. I love that. So I'm going to ask one more question before we wrap up. And that is, I think that trust in other people is very, very difficult for some people to do. And like, have you ever been let down or disappointed by somebody? I'm sure you have. But what is your coaching? What is your advice to someone who's like, oh my gosh, I could never do that? What do you tell your clients?
Well, for me, I hate to say this, but I will. It is a strategic coach tool. What has helped me so much with that is the experience transformer. Because as we have experiences, we have, and I've coined it, mistakes. There are mistakes. Whether I'm tired and I do it and I make a mistake, or somebody on the team is learning and they have a mistake, whatever that is. So when we hire someone new, their first week, every week, what worked last week, what didn't work, what do we need to put in place for this next week? Same thing, then we do 4 weeks in a row and then start doing it every month. So they have a way to communicate with us about what's working with the team, what's not working, what are they learning, what are they not. I find out if they're bored, I find out if they're overwhelmed, or their manager does, right? But we use that all the time with events. When things break down, right? Even with our adult kids, okay, what worked about that? What didn't? What do we need to put in place that it doesn't happen again, or to make it even better the next time, right? Sometimes we just use it when things break down, but I love to use it when it works really well. Like CoachCon, it worked really well. So we got to do it. What worked, what didn't work, what do we need to put in place for 2026, right? I'm already saying we're doing it.
We are.
Yeah. But to me, for trust, if someone continues to do mistakes of the same thing,
yeah,
I'm not going to have the trust built. But when we are growing, mistakes are going to happen. If there's no mistakes, are we growing? Mm-hmm. Are we pushing the edge, right? So that's my favorite. I mean, it is my favorite thing to use.
It's my number one learning tool.
Yeah.
End of story. I've done it on innumerable work things, and I've done numerous ones on vacations that we've gone on, including one to Hawaii, which I thought should have turned out better. But anyway, long story. It's powerful because then you actually learn, as you say, what's the situation you're dealing with. Could be a week, could be an event, could be, experience of some kind. And by the way, it used to be called the negativity transformer. And then Julia and I in the design room, we were realizing it doesn't only work for negative ones. It works for something that you just want to make better. Yeah. So what's the experience you want to learn from?
Right.
Say what it is, what worked, what didn't. brainstorm ideas. And then what's your new set of actions, as you said, to keep what's working and fix what isn't.
Right. And that is really, how did we build this huge firm and sell it? C&J, all of us that are doing startups, oh my God, fall out of my face again and again and again and again, right? You do. Your old firms, they just can go along or whatever. When you start something brand new, there's a lot of those things and new people and new things to learn and all of that. So it's a fabulous tool.
Yeah. And that's one that's only available in Coach. If anyone goes looking for it on the website, it's not there.
Okay. There you go.
have to be in Coach for that one. So that could be enough of a selling point. There's so many more questions I want to ask you, Colleen, but I know our time is coming to an end. So what are you excited about in the future? So if you look ahead to your entrepreneurial future, your family future, we didn't even get to talk about generous kids. Is there anything there? So just wrap it up for us. What are you happy about and what are you excited about?
Well, okay. So for generous kids, I will make a shameless plug. We've never made any money about that. Teaching kids the habit of giving. Instagram is on that, which is great. And we also did our book. We updated it and it's only $4.99 on ebook because we want to make it accessible to everybody.
Nice.
So that was very cool. I am very excited about C&J Innovations, and anybody can go to the website and take one of the assessments themselves, test it out and see. And anyone listening to this, whether they're in financial services or not, happy to send you that report and have that action be there for you. I'm excited with the collaboration with Free Zone, with 10X, with Signature, with our clients that are in there. I love and see that this thing we call strategic coach just keeps expanding and growing. And it's really exciting to me. And I'm excited about our family. We now have 6 grandkids, as you know, Shannon. We have Nana and Pops Camp where we take them, because of these great free days, we take them for a week at the time. And we started 6th grade graduation that we take them on a trip because I was told that senior year in high school, they don't want to go with anybody. So we're going to take them at 6 months and sophomore year. So just really exciting about our family and our future and our homes. We finished a home in Dallas, our place in Nova Scotia, which we've got to get Shannon to in the Maritimes. So there's just so much to look forward to.
Well, a couple things strike me. One is that you have really created the life you want, which is, original sort of tagline for Coach was double your income, double your free time. And the promise of unique ability is create the life you want. So you have done that.
Yes.
And a couple of other takeaways is you are perfectly happy saying, I don't do Excel, I don't do PowerPoint, I don't do the financial planning software. And you are so clear about your unique ability that you are staying on your side of the line, which actually just leaves an enormous amount of room and opportunity for other people to show up and do what they're best at.
Yes.
Right?
Elevate.
Yeah. And your mindset, if you're going to stay on your side of the line, you have to be good at teamwork.
Right.
Because other people are doing the stuff that you're not. So you can't just isolate in this little bubble.
Great point.
I think that's really powerful. And then the whole thing, you've just left me with such a practical way of thinking about how to build that trust so you can collaborate with team members, which is mistakes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I love that reframing of that. I actually had not heard that before. And then the experience transformer, which we both have a love for, but the fact that you do it at the end of each week for the first 4 weeks and then once a month after that, that is just such a great prescription for building that unique ability teamwork. So I'm shamelessly boring it, giving you all the credit, of course, but it's like, that's kind of obvious. It's one of those duh moments. So thank you. Thank you for that. So if someone wants to learn more about you and your amazing offerings, where can they find you? Is it your website's LinkedIn? Just share all the info.
Yeah, just catch up with me on LinkedIn at Colleen Bowler, or on our website or LinkedIn at C&J Innovations.com. Yeah, and you can find me there.
Excellent.
Yeah.
And you can find me in a strategic coach workshop
Oh,
too.
yeah. And you can come into one of my strategic coach workshops. We have great fun.
Well, I can tell. And as you shared earlier about your free day experience from the entrepreneurial time system, you have walked the walk and talked the talk, right? Like this is not theoretical for you. This is incredibly practical. And you're very conscious and aware of how you've got there. You think about your thinking. So I'm excited for more and more people to get to experience the magic that is Colleen.
Yes. Thanks, Shannon. So good to talk with you.
You too.
Always.
Yes. So thank you very much for being here. We really appreciate that.